BCAM podcast, where we believe better coaching always matters. My name is Michael Masucci, author of Elite Journey books and BCAM board member. My co-host is Dan Young, the executive director of BCAM, the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan. On this podcast, we bring in leaders for the betterment of our game. Our vision is that every team across the state of Michigan has a great coach. We're so excited to have Coach Brad Wilson, the varsity girls coach at Rockford High School, join us this evening. Coach Wilson, welcome to the BCAM podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We're so excited to have you. You know, you had such an exciting season last season on so many accounts. You were one of our regional coaches of the year. But we'd like to just dive right in, Coach, and talk a little bit about the makings of Coach Brad Wilson. Like, tell us a little bit about how you fell in love with this game, your rise to become, the head coach at such a prestigious high school, one of the more prestigious high schools across the state of Michigan. Just tell our listeners a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so I, as a young boy, I grew up in a small town, Grayling, Michigan, and the kind of town that everyone knows each other, and had an awesome upbringing in that community, and was fortunate enough to have a group of friends that were very active, and we played pretty much every sport that you can play: soccer and basketball and football and baseball. And as I grew older, I really just fell in love with the game of basketball, and was very lucky at a young age to have some mentors. Jim Tobin is one that he played at Central Michigan, but he was one of my best friends, one of my college roommates. His dad was our youth coach growing up, and then Coach Rich Moffitt was my varsity coach when I was in high school, and of course, he's one of the best ever to do it. And so, those guys really instilled a lot of the things that I know about basketball today: toughness and being a good teammate, and working hard, being committed, came from those guys. And so when I graduated from college, I wanted to get into coaching, and I teach phys ed and health, and have been doing that now for 19 years. And so, as I've bounced around from one place to the next, I've gotten opportunities to coach football and baseball and basketball, and of course now my kids are growing up and they're playing sports, so I'm coaching them as well. And so, my first coaching gig was I was doing my student teaching at Rockford High School, and while I was doing that, I asked all the coaches in the school, hey, you need help with this or you need help with that, and so I helped out with baseball. I helped out with the boys varsity basketball program, and eventually wound up teaching in Belding. And while I was there, at one point I was the 7th grade girls basketball coach, and I coached football and I coached baseball. And eventually became the 8th grade coach, and then the 9th grade coach, and later on was the JV girls coach there at Belding, and eventually became the varsity coach. So really moved my way up. Was the varsity coach at Belding for 4 years, and my wife and I live in Rockford and have lived here for quite a while. My wife works in Grand Rapids, and I was working in Belding and living in Rockford, and so we really wanted to. When we started a family, I wanted to work and coach and raise a family all in the same town. And so the stars aligned, and there was an opening in Rockford. And so I came over here, and I coached 1 year under Kyle Clough in the boys program. I was the JV coach at Rockford, and then the women's coach took a job over at Cornerstone. And so there was an opening, and I went for it, and I've been doing it ever since. So
yeah.
That's a snapshot of.
No, that's great. You know what I love about that journey, Coach, is that, it's from the ground up. Like you did skip any steps. You were like at every level doing it, training, listening to your mentors. I mean, what a great story for our aspiring coaches program, who they all want to be a head coach, and some want to just be a head coach before they, do the steps that that you took in order to get to where you are right now. So I think that's beautiful. And then you mentioned all those wonderful mentors. What were some big ideas from those great coaches that you took away along that road?
Well, I think as a player, just I have great memories of just being together, having a common goal, working hard toward, sometimes what felt like impossible feats. We'd be playing these teams that were just stacked with talent, but we always felt like we had a shot as long as we, put in the time every day and, did our part and shined in our role, whatever that might be. And I just fell in love with being a part of a team. And I really enjoy the bus rides and the hotel rooms, and the late trips and of course the battles on Friday nights and all those kind of things. And so I always knew that I wanted to compete, whether it was as a player or as a coach. And now that I'm an older man, I've enjoyed on the coaching side, and it's so much fun.
It's awesome. Well, you're still a young guy, so you got a lot of years in this industry. So let's jump right into some real specific things about building a program. Like, we got so many listeners at so many different levels, but I'd love, since the season's upcoming, just to ask you a couple questions. First, on the off season. So think spring, summer, fall. What are some things that you've done at Rockford to help build a winning culture and team in the off season, knowing that you have athletes that like to play other sports and have jobs and have competing interests? Like, how do you juggle all of that and still maintain your competitive edge?
Yeah, we do have some kids that play other sports, and we definitely we encourage that. I think kids can benefit from playing multiple sports and use different muscles and get coached by different leaders. And to me, that's a very undervalued thing. But we do have quite a few kids that just play basketball as well, and so we try to provide them as many basketball opportunities as we can. The last 4 years, we've been pretty lucky to play all the way to the end of March.
Right.
And so usually we give them a few weeks off, and we have the banquet. And then shortly there, after spring break, we start our spring workouts. And what that looks like for us, we do 4-person workouts 3 days a week. And we just schedule it out where our varsity kids come in 4 at a time, and we work on ball handling and shooting and just developing skills. And then I guess from there in the summer, when we have a lot more access to the full team, that's where we'll do our team camp. We try to take trips to different places. We've gone up north, we've gone camping. I've taken the trips down the river with the team, and as many team bonding things as we can possibly do with the girls, to really grow as a team and to provide just fun opportunities for them to get together and get to know each other. And we'll play really all summer long and until the AAU season begins. And a lot of our elite athletes will play AAU later in the summer. And of course, that goes right into the fall, and we'll pick up our fall workouts similar to what I described in the spring. And that all kind of finishes out with a fall league that our kids are in on Sunday nights, that they do over in Grand Rapids. And so there's a lot of opportunities for our varsity kids to play, and then there's a lot of opportunities for them to give back as well. We do quite a bit of youth program stuff in the off season where our varsity kids are involved with, whether it's working a summer camp or officiating our fall league for our 3rd through 6th grade group as well. We do that every Saturday in the fall, and so they're very busy, and
Yeah.
wouldn't want it any other way.
No, I want to jump right to the season, but before we do that, can you tell our listeners a little bit about some of the, whether it's intentional or not, some of the team bonding that you do in the off season? I just think that those things are undervalued sometimes and might pay dividends down the road. If someone sees a Rockford team play, one of your team's coach, they'll see high trust, but they'll also see some fun that your kids genuinely like each other, and that might tell the story right there. Do you just mind shedding a little bit of light on some of those, camping trips or team bonding opportunities that the summer allows?
Yeah, of course. A lot of it is in the gym, and we spend a lot of time together, working on basketball and in the weight room, and it's those hot summer days in the gym. But you're right. I think outside of the gym, we really want to provide our kids with the best experience possible. And really, my goal is when they graduate from high school, they look back at their time at Rockford, and they really think that playing basketball was the best part or the highlight of their time here. And so every year I get with the seniors and we figure out where our big trip's going to be. Each year we do a different trip with them. For a number of years we chose the Hope Camp, which is just an awesome camp, and we stayed in the dorms and did a lot of team stuff there, and that was a ton of fun. And then for some years we did the Big North trip up in the Petoskey, Boyne area, and did a number of things that they offer. And again, there's so many things to do, but sometimes I would tailor it in the things that I'm most interested in, like camping or going down river. But there's horseback riding, and there's hiking, and there's just time in the dorm rooms and doing little skits and projects together and things like that. But it's those things that just hopefully create really great memories and good bonds within the team.
Brad, you spoke at our clinic. You did a great job, and it was evident that your staff, you're very tight. You could feel the positive energy among each other. Talk a little bit about that. I mean, that's a demanding spring, summer, fall, and not even talking the season. Talk about your staff and what they mean to you, and how to build a good staff.
Right. So we spend, as you said, so much time together, and it's not a job for us. It's a lifestyle, and we have get-togethers often, and it's not just the coaches; it's their spouses and families, and we get together and take turns bringing in different types of food, and we love each other, and we respect each other. We work hard for each other. We can count on each other, and I've tried to really surround myself with people who are passionate about Rockford basketball, and they believe in the mission. They believe in what we're trying to accomplish, and they support in every way. And so I really try to vet that when I'm bringing in someone new, if they would fit in with just the culture that we fit from a coaching perspective. And I think our kids can see it too. They can see how much we care for one another and how hard we work for them, and how hard we're trying to provide an opportunity for them to be great. And so asking them to meet us there on our journey is not an easy ask. It's a 12-month a year commitment. The off season and the season's long, but they can see how much work that we put into it as well. But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, we do as a staff get together a lot. I think probably one of the things that we do maybe more than most is after a game we get together and we really debrief. Right when it's fresh in our mind, right after a game, we think about what went well, what didn't go so well, what could we get better at. And I kind of got that from I think it was a YouTube video or something that I watched on the Navy SEALs, and how
Really?
important that is for those teams after a mission to debrief. And we kind of applied it, and some of it's fun. We're getting together, celebrating a big win or whatever it is. But a lot of times we're really strategizing, and I feel like we've really grown leaps and bounds since we started doing that.
Well, it's fresh on your mind, and you're able to, within the staff, get things out there and take notes, and then kind of go to bed with it, and then be ready for the next day. That's And you can tell right away with your staff. You could just feel it. I had an opportunity to meet, Anna Wypitch. She won Miss Basketball, and her family, and her mother's on your staff. But you could feel it at the clinic that you've got a special thing going.
Yeah, and the other thing is just not being afraid to speak up, and it's a safe place. We're all in it together. We're all there to help our team win games and also provide a great experience. And what's fun is I kind of sat down and we looked at all of the what everyone can bring to the table. What are our strengths and what are our weaknesses? And I have plenty of weaknesses, but the good news is that we've been able to kind of write down on paper, these are the things that I'm going to do, and these are the things that Coach Wypitch is going to really shine in her role, and Coach Hendricks is going to provide this for our team, and we really try to focus and hone in on those things. And then in our debriefing, we talk about those specific things, what they saw within their area. And we really feel like we're touching on all the areas, whether it's our bench morale, whether it's how we handled a difficult situation, whether that's on the court, off the court, and I just feel like we can lean on each other in those situations.
That's really good. Thank you. That's really good.
Excellent, Coach. I'm glad you picked that up on the staff chemistry. And because that's what it really takes to be a standout program. And I even see that within your school and school district in large. I mean, your superintendent, Dr. Matthews, is one of the best. And he supports your schools. He supports your programs. I sent him a quick note, said, man, I met your girls basketball coach. What a star. He wrote back and just so proud of, all the coaches that are at Rockford. Is there some collegiality among other sports that you draw from as well? Because you seem to have it rolling there at Rockford. I wonder if some of those lessons can be learned at other schools or across the state, what's going on at Rockford.
Well, Dr. Matthews, he's everywhere here at Rockford. You go to a school play, he's going to be in the front row. You go to a football game or whatever it might be, it really starts from the top down. It's just a tremendous amount of support. The last few years we've been lucky to get to the Breslin, and it's been a great experience. But he's canceled school now 4 years in a row.
Yes.
And, lined up 9, 10, 11 school buses to get the student body to the game, and that's why you see the sea of orange there. And so it's great to work and coach and live in a community that has that much support for their athletic teams. And when I came to Rockford, I wanted to learn about the history, and I was just down the road in Belding, and we looked at Rockford. It was kind of the university of Rockford, so to speak, and very intimidating, and just a lot of history of winning championships. And I wanted to be a part of that culture. And when I came here, it wasn't a it's kind of hard to explain, but I've kind of tried to explain it before like this. I don't know that doing extraordinary things, I don't know that you have to be this extraordinary person, but I think you got to be very committed and just show up day after day, have a vision, where you're at, where you want to go, and you know exactly how you're going to get there. And in a place like Rockford, you have a lot of people that jump on board that are going to help you fulfill that commitment and that mission. And so I've talked to the football coaches and the baseball coaches and the volleyball coaches and some of the programs that were very successful here when I came, and they all had a lot of those same things in common. And so I think when it comes to Rockford, you have families that are very invested. You have administration that is very supportive, and you have coaches that are really hardworking, and that's a really good combination.
That's a formula for success right there.
Sure.
Coach, let's get right at tryouts. We have a lot of listeners that are maybe going to their first season as a varsity coach or maybe their first season as a freshman coach. How do you handle tryouts at all three levels? Do you oversee them? Do you give some autonomy to your freshman and JV coach? Do you do a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day? Can you just, in a concise way, just take us through what your first tryout would be like this season?
You must have like 500 people try out.
Yeah, we get our numbers are good, which is great. Very fortunate and blessed to have kids. When I was at BCAM at the clinic, I talked to a lot of different coaches that were worried they were even going to have a varsity team, let alone a JV and a freshman team.
So true. So true.
We've been really lucky, yeah, to have the numbers. And, with the success of late, there's a lot of excitement around the program, and kids are coming out and they're committing to playing. So we're blessed with that. But as soon as our fall league ends, we have a down week right before the season starts, and we do preseason conditioning. And that's a really big part of what we do. We have all the kids from freshman level to the varsity level compete and it's really a competition. We have shirts made, we have a trophy, and all these kind of things. But the kids come in and they do a number of different cardio based, skill based activities where we're ranking them, and it's really merit based, where you do 5 down and backs, and first place gets this many points, and we call it the 5-star challenge, and that really sets the tone for the tryout. And I feel like we have a pretty good idea who's going to be trying out if they're willing to show up at 6 a.m, for 5 days and really go through quite a bit of conditioning. And so that's really how things start out. And this year, before each conditioning day, I'll have a few things that are really important to the program that I talk about with the group. And then at tryouts, there's actually a test that they take through our Schoology program. All the kids have a device for their classes at school, and they actually go on and take a couple of minutes of practice and answer some questions about what we stand for, what our motto is, and why that's important, and things like that. Because I really want that to be part of the tryout.
Sure.
I want them to really understand what we're about, what they're signing up for, and how they can help us achieve great things. And so as far as the tryout's concerned, it's 3 days, and our freshmen and JV try out together, and our varsity is separate. I try to be at both, and essentially it's a full-blown practice. Early on, I was more skill oriented, where we had a rubric, and I measure every athlete by those metrics. But the longer I've done this, the more I've really kind of pivoted to more of I want to see if the kids can pick up concepts within our offense and defense and execute it at a pretty high level early on. Because I found that some kids can come in and they can make layups and shoot the ball and do these things, but if you ask them to do X, Y, and Z while they're doing those skills, it might be a little bit different. And so I've gotten some trust within the our parent group. They trust in what how I evaluate kids, and I think our success supports some of those things. And so I do it a little bit different, I suppose, where I don't necessarily have a paper with ranking each player 1 through 5, and that it's really an eyeball test. But we start putting things in literally on day 1, and so at the conclusion of day 3, I'll pull them in. We start with the seniors, and then we work down to any freshmen that might be trying out for varsity, and we pull them in one at a time and talk about A, whether they made the team or not, but B, if they did make the team, where we see them right away, and hopefully they understand that and helping them understand that where they're at now doesn't necessarily mean that's where they're going to be a week from now or a month from now or a year from now, but this is where we see them now, and these are the things that we feel like they really bring to the table to help us, and these are the things that we need to see them improve on, so they really know where they stand. There's open communication.
Great.
And what kind of goes into that is A, how skilled they are, but then also B, how well they pick up concepts. So
Sure.
Love it. Very
No,
good.
I like that idea of running a practice because it's so true. We have so many like overtrained maybe, like just they know how to move around a cone and finish without a defender in front of them, but to play in a 3-on-3 or a 3-on-2 or some kind of setting like that, I think brings out some real things you can take as you
yeah,
build a team.
we've
Love
we've
that.
been fooled before, where it's you have somebody like you said has had a lot of training and they're a skilled player, but as you know, you've probably coached a team where you put that kid out there and they just make plays. They are a gamer, and so we certainly don't want to overlook that either.
Absolutely.
Very good.
So
Very good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
yeah, that was great. That's something, Coach Young, that we will replay for our aspiring coaches program. That's right there. So now, like, let's talk about scheduling. Like, you have such success in March. I feel like scheduling. Coach Izzo's a big proponent of playing the best teams, and you hear him say that. He said it on our podcast about how his teams are built for March. Uh, Tell us a little bit, because you don't have that kind of flexibility like a Coach Izzo would have, but are there some intentionalities? I'm sure you've played in some showcases as well because you've had, obviously a Miss Basketball and some other things. So how do you go about putting together a varsity schedule that gets your team ready to play its best basketball in March?
Yeah, so you kind of hit it on the head. We try to schedule the toughest schedule in the state. That's always my goal. Is at the end of the season we have the number one NPR. That's been the goal, and we've either been one or two now for quite a while.
Is that right? That's great.
But it's not. It wasn't always like that. And if I'm being completely honest, years ago, you're trying to get momentum. You're trying to get excitement. You're trying to feel success. And when we had, maybe a little less skill, it was more about, hey, we need to challenge ourselves, but we also need to find some success and maybe, put some teams on the schedule that we feel like we can be very competitive with. And as things progressed, and as we've gotten more successful the last 5, 6, 7 years, we just try to put as many good teams that we can possibly get on the schedule. And so we were I think last year we played in 4 or 5 different showcases, and the year before that as well. And again, this year we try to play teams from the Detroit area. But the more experience that I've gotten, the more I realize the importance of playing back-to-back days.
Is that right? Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so we really didn't have a lot of experience with it. The first year we made it to the semifinals, and the idea of playing on Friday and then playing the very next day, if you're lucky enough to win that first one, at least for us at the Division I level, it's always Friday, Saturday. It's challenging, really challenging for our staff to prepare the scouting reports and all those kind of things, and it's also tough for the kids. And so, what we started to do the last few years is schedule at least 3 or 4 different situations during the year where they play back-to-back days, and they just get used to playing maybe on sore legs, or maybe playing a little deeper into the bench, or with less of a scouting report. And I think that's helped us a lot. That was something that I thought was a really beneficial thing, and that's helped us in March for sure. You go from playing Tuesdays and Fridays to all of a sudden it's, boom, 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 boom. You're playing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the regionals is Tuesday, Thursday, and then of course the last couple games are back to back. And so we try to schedule it like that during the season. So I'm not sure if I answered the question, but The last maybe 3, 4, 5 years, we've tried to schedule just anybody that will play us, that is within the top, 5 to 10 teams. And, I will say, I'll tell you a real quick story. In 2023, we had a very good team. We were in, maybe 1 or 2 in the state, and West Catholic had a very good team as well, and they were probably 1 or 2 in the state. And we played early in the year. It was a Christmas tournament over at Cornerstone, and it was a heavyweight battle. Both teams were just loaded with talent, and we lost. And it was devastating for us. Here's a team right in our backyard that beat us, and of course, we're very competitive, and but I will say this: if it wasn't for that loss, I honestly do not believe we would have won the state championship that year. The loss really truly brought our team and our staff together. It really
Amen.
forced us to really look, in the mirror and figure out, okay, these are our deficiencies, and maybe we were able to hide those against inferior teams, but when we play the best, these things are really gonna get us, and so we have to change. And our practices became more focused. They became more spirited. I feel like it really shored up some of those deficiencies that we ran into, down the road, and helped us win at the end.
You know what I love about that story is, no team really gets better after excuses. Like, it's not like, hey, those refs really screwed us, or man, if we would have just made our free, you guys really, and you mentioned the Navy SEALs did an after action report, a deep reflection, and said, we've got to get better. And that's really, humility up front. And then it's like an openness for growth. And that's a great lesson for our coaches. Coach Young, I know you've got to be so proud, as a BCAM executive director, to see a school like Rockford who really does things all the right way. And you see Coach Wilson, just a standout here. And then, his program just is a statewide recognized as just a 5-star program. What are your overall thoughts about, Coach Wilson and what he brings to our industry?
I think the eye opener for a lot of people was the clinic.
Yeah, I agree.
We decided to have high school coaches do a championship hour, and you just realize how good people like yourself are, and your boys coach and your staff, and how you look at from the outside looking in. Oh yeah, well they're this and that, and the reason they're good. No, the reason they're good is because they've got good coaches, and they've got a program, and they develop, and kids get better, and it's awesome. It's a model for anyone. And what I love too is you started in 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, Belding. You built it up. It wasn't just Rockford High School wasn't handed to you. That's what is impressive, and that's what the reason we wanted to get you on this podcast, for people to listen and learn from one of the best. So congratulations, keep it up. Very proud of you, and just keep rolling, keep doing what you're doing, because you're a model of success.
Well said, Coach. I have all these note cards of questions I wanted to ask you, but time just flew. And, we always ask, Coach, this one question to all of our guests, and that's this. If you were to give a coach who wants to have a long, distinguished career in our industry some advice, what would that advice be?
I think be true to yourself. Don't try to be anybody else but who you are, and I think believe in yourself is a huge thing. Really having the confidence and belief that you deserve to be where you're at. Someone hired you because they believe in you, and surround yourself with people who believe in what you're doing, that support you, support the kids, and want to see that program have success, and then just build a skill development program that can help develop players get better, giving them opportunities to get better year round, and that's a really good start. As I said before in the last podcast, we try to create a mantra that our kids know who they are. They know what we stand for. We play with a relentless mentality, as I told you before, and so you could ask any one of our players if they came in on one of the podcasts, and they would know. That we play tough. We play up tempo. This is our brand, and so that didn't happen by accident. We talk about it. We quiz them on it, and so the kids know exactly who we are and what we stand for. And so I think that if you believe in yourself and you set high goals and high expectations, and you surround yourself with great people who will support you and be there for you, and you train kids year round, and make it fun, make it exciting for the community, and have a mantra, have a slogan, and really put that out there on social media and all those kind of things. And before you know it, you start gaining momentum, and momentum's a good thing, and it'll get you a long ways.
Coach Wilson, you are an exemplar, and we thank you for joining the BCAM podcast.
Well done, Coach.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
The BCAM podcast is proudly sponsored by Blast Athletics, the official fundraising and team management partner of the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan. At Blast, they believe coaches, athletes, and communities succeed when fundraising is simple and communication is seamless. That's why BCAM has partnered with Blast to give our Michigan basketball programs the tools they need to raise more, engage more, and keep their teams connected. Learn more at blastathletics.com. Wow, Coach Wilson, what an interview. I mean, so many nuggets that a coach can take on just how to build a program. One of the things that I really, it really struck me, and I've heard it before, but not quite the way Coach Wilson explained it, was the value of the back-to-back games. So he's very intentional about the rhythm of a tournament and, how a team responds to play the day after. And I just think that was a nice takeaway, especially for teams that are going to have very competitive teams and plan on long state tournament runs. Coach, your thoughts on Coach Wilson?
Things that stuck out to me is that he started at Shepherd High School. He volunteered to do baseball. He volunteered to do basketball. He was 7th grade at Belding, 7th grade girls, 8th grade girls, 9th grade girls, JV girls, varsity girls.
Yeah.
Rockford High School builds it, has sustained it. The spring, summer, fall, that's a lot. And then, played for Rich Moffitt. Rich Moffitt's a great coach. Mm-hmm. Served on our board for many, many years. And that really impressed me, that he, I think coaches, young coaches, anyone who's trying to be successful in this field have to understand it starts small and builds from an everyday trying to improve every day. And that's starting at the lowest level. And that's what stuck out to me. And obviously he's very articulate. He's evidently hardworking. He has a system. We're going to play to our system. This is who we are. That's evident. And that's what successful programs look like.
Yeah,
that was cool. That was cool.
Really, yeah. So, and one of our best here across the state, Coach Wilson. If you want to find more about Rockford, you can find them on different social media accounts. He was also a guest, as Coach Young mentioned, at our clinic and brought some great drills to our participants. And he also joined our Fast Break segment, which he talked a little bit about the Rockford philosophy and some of his core values, his his off the floor values and his floor values. And that is definitely worth a listen on YouTube as well. We just started to brand ourselves as a BCAM podcast. We got so many listeners, but we started to have our own accounts on X and Instagram and Facebook. And so give us a look and give us a follow on those different accounts. And we definitely appreciate your support. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for the 5-star ratings if you're able to give us those. And we're looking forward to a terrific season, rooting on all of our coaches across the state of Michigan. So Good luck to our coaches. Coach Young, you want to send us off?
Good luck with tryouts. The season is long, and it will be up and down for you, hopefully more up than down. But just know we're a text, phone call, email away if there's anything we can assist you with during the season, because we're all pulling for you.
Yeah. One thing Coach Young and I love to do is go to practices and watch you guys do the things you love. So best of luck, and thank you for all your support.